loud anyways. So hello, welcome to Imagine. I'm Thomas. I'm missing my partner in crime, Charles, who those have met Charles Bella before. He is actually up in Rhode Island doing a teaching up there. So it's kind of weird not having him here. It's kind of bizarre. I don't know, I can't explain it. He adds something to it that I can't explain. So you get me tonight. So once again, thank you so much for coming to Imagine. This is a little project that me and Charles started. Well, this is number sixth month. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we haven't really pushed much of it. We haven't really tried to market it. We've kind of approached it from very experimental. And the whole focus of why we started doing this was just to start gathering creatives of different forms, whether it be illustrators, whether it be musicians and songwriters, and even poets and stuff, to come and share kind of their stories and stuff. So very informal, like laid back, chilled, all right? Yeah. I've got my Post Malone, Charlie Brown on, you know, it's one of those kind of parties. But yeah, we welcome you guys, and I hope you guys have a good night here. So like I said, the whole format of kind of what we do is just, we allow the artists to come up, do about a 20-minute presentation. If they take less time, that's okay. If they take more time, sometimes that's okay too. Depends if they're interesting or not, right? On the second act, which will be Jason tonight, we do have a basket of tomatoes somewhere. And feel free to throw them as you like. But I'm the first act, so that'll be the second act. But no, just kidding on that. But so the idea was, like I said, bring in creatives, allow them to share their giftings from all different levels. We've had people that are just been doing art for a very short period of time. And then we've had people that are professional, people that have been doing it, that are out there selling their stuff and doing their things on a professional level. And it's been really interesting to kind of listen to their stories. And then what's also interesting is kind of finding out what the creative process is that they use and bring to the table. And I think I've enjoyed it. Who all has been to Imagine? If you don't mind, just raise your hand. Okay, nice. I know you have. I see you back here. My son's like barely raising his hand. Like, but you've been here. Just raise it up. So, all right, thank you, Jason. He had the delayed hand up. So, but yeah, once again, thank you so much for your. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. We'll get it going. We'll do about 20 minutes presentation. I may not take that long, but then after the 20 minutes with the artist, we allow about another 10 minutes for just Q&A. And if anybody in the crowd has questions about maybe their process, or like, how did you come up with that idea, or what's going on in your head? Is there something wrong with you? Feel free to ask those questions, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about just, in general, just kind of, unlocking creativity. So I've been doing art for my whole life. I'm one of those guys that was the little kid that was starting out with the stick figures and trying to make the superheroes and those kind of things. And then as I was growing into my passion for art and growing up from middle school, elementary through middle school through high school, my goal and my desire was to someday become a professional comic book artist. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a comic book artist. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to draw the Spider-Mans and the Supermans and those kind of things. And very much so, as I can remember, there's times in our lives when we're pushing towards a goal, and I'll use myself as an example. As a young man, 16, 17 years old, these were my passions. This is what I knew I wanted to do. But it's interesting, along the way, I can remember the biggest challenges that I faced was, well, number one, you're always going to have to, you're the number one challenge you're ever going to face. You're the one that actually does it or doesn't do it, no matter what somebody tells you or happens, it's really up to you. But the challenges I can remember people telling you, and you guys have probably heard this, like, oh, you want to be an artist, so you don't ever want to eat. You never want to have money, right? Those kind of things.
I remember.
Like, yeah, but I love this thing, right? And then I can remember, which, God bless his soul, I don't know if he's dead or not, but God bless his soul. My art teacher in high school, I can remember as a senior, he was like anti anything that was like comic book style art, superhero art, those things like that.
Gosh.
And that's what I loved, okay? And I can remember telling him one time, he was like, Thomas, have you ever thought about just getting, which I probably would have been really good at, have you ever thought about just getting into real estate? He's like, I think you'd be a really good realtor. He's like, I don't think the arts career is for you, okay? That hurt. I'm not going to be honest, as like a 17-year-old kid, that impacts your life, and these are the things that you kind of carry over. And but you move past it, right? And so as I was kind of moving into my my adult life, I discovered this other thing that kind of took a bigger passion than art, which was girls. And then I wound up meeting my wife, right back there. So there she is back there. So it's her fault that I'm not an artist like I wanted to be. Just kidding. Never your never your fault. Never your fault. Never your. It's actually probably was the best thing that happened to me. I will say that. So, but as you kind of start living life, things start changing. All right. Maybe I shouldn't be an artist. Maybe this isn't the way for me to go. Opportunities. I'm not boasting this, but I had wonderful opportunities to go train in a different place. I had the opportunity to go train at the art school in San Francisco. I had an opportunity to get into the Disney program to do animation and stuff with them. Wow. And I let it go. I was like, no, I didn't really, by that point, I didn't know what I was, what I wanted to do, any of that stuff anymore. So let's fast forward now. So here we go now, 20 plus years, right? I wound up taking other adventures, laid the pens and pencils down, and didn't do it for, I dabbled with it. I might do like, I would maybe do like one piece, maybe a year, probably, something like that. It was very, if that, my wife said. She's right, one piece, maybe a year. But it was kind of sad. So fast forwarding, you kind of get through life. I'm still a young man. I turn 49 tomorrow. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm not looking for any praises. Thank you. But anyways, 49 tomorrow. And so, about during the pandemic, you're stuck at home. You're going crazy. What do you do? And my initial thoughts was, well, I guess I'm going to start drawing again. So I really didn't start drawing until it's been about 3 years, about a 3-year process that I decided, you know what? I'm just going to start getting back into this. For my point, I was like, I don't think I'm any good at all. I don't feel like I'm any good at all. But I want to do this because this was a childhood dream that I didn't accomplish, that I didn't push for. And whether, for me, it's not even about making it or not making it anymore. It's simply about being creative and finding the creativity within yourself and pulling it out into this realm, into this world.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to share a little bit here. I've only got one kind of piece here that I want to show, and there's like some stages of progression with it. But I'm hoping that tonight, with what I'm sharing, make sure I'm on timer, that will encourage you guys that if you have had a passion in your heart to do something creatively, songwriting, art, whatever it may be, writing poems, cooking, like all these things, woodwork, these are all creative things. Every single person in this room has a creative ability that's been installed within you. Now, for me, I believe it comes from the Creator, right? It comes from the Father, it comes from the Creator. He blesses and puts it in every single person. It doesn't matter what you believe. Every single person has that creative ability within inside you. So I encourage you all, tap into that. Find out what that is. And the beautiful thing about it is it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You have these unique abilities within you to pull this stuff out, have fun, and to just show the world who you are and what you can do. You're not looking for their praises. You're not looking even for the responses because it's not about them. It's about you and what you present, right? So the first piece I'd like to share with you here, a few years ago, I probably started this one about maybe 2 years ago, and sometimes when I do my art, I'll sit down and I'll do just like a preliminary sketching of something, kind of get an idea of what I want. And then that one will progress into the next stage, will be a little more detailed, and to the next stage, a little more detail. This piece that I started here is what I do is called automatic drawing, where I will sit down with no thoughts whatsoever, what's going to happen, and I'll start with something. Usually it may be a shape, a line, circle, whatever it may be. I'll start with that one thing, and then whatever comes out of that, I just let it keep growing until it all comes to fruition. And so in that process, I created, it's going to get a little trippy here, guys, all right?
A little trippy.
Little trippy. This is one of my trippy ones.
Awesome.
So I'll come down here a little bit.
I like those.
Yeah. So this is Froggy. All right? Now my daughter did ask me about a week ago, Daddy, is Froggy high? Why are his eyes red? I said, but no, his eyes are red. He's not high, okay? And he's got a mushroom, but let me tell you, it's not psychedelic, okay? Just letting you know now. That's like I think it's called like a Santa Claus mushroom or something like that. Doesn't do like that, okay? I don't know why it came out this way. I don't know why I created this character look like this, but there was something within me that said, you know what? I just want to bring this young character to life, Froggy. And I kind of fell in love with the dude, and everybody that kind of sees it, you know, hanging up on my wall at home with all my other pictures and stuff, everybody loves Froggy. If you shine a black light, because I'm obsessed with like psychedelic, like the colors and stuff, of like bright colors and stuff, and I love things that you can put black lights to, and it just really pops out and shines. Awesome, right? Love it. But that's Froggy. So he was the initial journey of this process, and it gets weird because you start winding up loving these characters. Like, hear me out. I was gonna say I'm not crazy, but my wife might tell you different. All right? But, like, there's something about these characters, and I got all these here. I've created so many characters, that they become a part of you. They become like family to you. You can't explain it, but they're there. I've got this huge banner with all these characters on and stuff that I would take that down the road. We're planning on going to some of these Comic-Cons and sharing some stuff. We're working on some different projects. One of the guys sharing tonight is my writer. We're working on a couple of comic books, which I'm so excited about because I'm getting to do something I've always wanted to do. So we're looking at this banner and we're talking about these characters. And my oldest son said, you know, like, I can't remember what we were exactly, how we got to it, but I said, but what I love about these characters, man, is I said, these characters don't exist. Like, I'm the only one in this world that can bring this character to life.
Right.
And I love that because if you look at it from the perspective of us as humans, and we have a creator, right? We have the Father, we have this creator. He created us, we're unique. He's the only one that can bring us, you, individually, and all the awesomeness that you are into this world.
Yes.
And he's installed these gifts inside of creativity to do the exact same thing through music and song and all these other ways of bringing these stories and stuff into the world that nobody would ever experience or see or even maybe think about if it wasn't for you. So think about that for a minute. How powerful is that? How unique are you? And some of you guys may be sitting there going like, well, I'm not very creative. I'm going to say, yes, you are. You're probably just confusing your creativity with someone else's creativity. Because your creativity may not look at all like the other person's. And that's what's so awesome about it. It doesn't have to. So as I look at these characters and I draw them and stuff, this one is specific. I'll get a little technical here. This one is done with ink. I love ink work. And then markers. So this is like alcohol markers. And I use a lot of markers and such. Love it. As I look at these characters, it brings me just great joy. Like, you know, I just want to bring them into the world. Whether somebody reads these stories or not, that's okay. But somebody will get to enjoy it. But the biggest thing I love is that someday I get to pass them on to my kids and stuff. They can do whatever they want. But I've already got some, I mean, all the pictures on my walls, including this one. I can't sell them because they're claimed. You know, my children are like, I want that one. I want that one. When you're gone, Dad, I want them. Like, oh, you know, they're thinking so far ahead already, but they want these things. But as we're creating these things, the thing I had to kind of learn is, number one, is patience. That was a big thing that I struggled with, is patience. And just being patient in the process. Let it come out. How many times do we have any artists in here that draw or anything? Okay. How many times have you started a piece? And like you're just kind of working on it. Maybe you've been working on it for 5 minutes. Maybe you're working on it for an hour and you're like, oh, I just can't. This is horrible. And then you like shrivel it up, throw it away. I've been there, done that a million times. Can I give you a word of advice? Stop doing that. Stop doing that. As horrible as you think it is, just put it aside and let it sit there. And then come back to it a little bit more. Just like kind of how as a person that molds clay and stuff like that, a pottery, they go in there and they sculpt it. It takes time. Go back and start sculpting these characters, right? And so, Froggy was my sculpting. This was stage 1 of Froggy. I love Froggy. I love how he looks. I love how he feels. I love everything about him. Maybe someday he'll be this style of Froggy will be in a children's story. But Froggy has progressed since then. So I'm going to share a couple other images of Froggy. But my point in this is, don't ever stop. Keep having fun with it. Just because you get to a point where something's finished, and this is complete to me, like this is Froggy. but I knew I wanted to take them to another level, into another format, into another stylistically, okay? So I started playing with some stuff. Get this loaded. So stage 2 of Froggy. I wanted to keep working on him and stuff and decide, what does he look like? What is Froggy doing? He still has red eyes, okay? But here's the next stage of Froggy. You can kind of see how I come around. I decided to give him some clothes, for one. Maybe he should have some clothes on. I don't know, right? And so I haven't actually looked at this version of Froggy, because this is a digital version of Froggy, because I do digital work as well. And I hadn't really looked at this version of Froggy for a while, but then tonight I was kind of getting this stuff together, and I looked at this Froggy, I was like, wow, I really love that dude, but boy, he's weird looking. Like, he's bizarre, okay? But I love that, just the change. Maybe this is maybe he's starting to hit puberty, I don't know, like little teenage years. He's kicking in a little bit, right? And maybe that's just a little awkwardness, right? So that's what he's doing right there.
Don't look at me.
But this was the next stage of development for Froggy. And then from this point, then I went into, time here, to the next stage, which is becoming more of his final stage. It should be here. And this is just ink. So this is the next stage of Froggy. Okay.
Nice.
So I decided, you know what, I want to go with more of a manga style, Japanese style of artwork, if you're familiar with that type of work. So this is the next stage of Froggy, as he's progressing. He's growing up, he's getting some actual solid clothes on him. I love his smile. He still has the hat. He has a smiley face on him, on his chest. And then I've got here's kind of where I'm sitting at, same picture, but from a digital point of view of coloring. Here's what I think is actually probably going to be the final stage of Froggy for the series.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
Love it.
That's the go-to, anime, yeah, anime style. And that's the goal with this book that I'm working on as well with Froggy, is it's so weird because he's like my kid. You know, it's like he's like my kid, and they're so awkward. And it's funny because my kids all know the saying too, especially my oldest daughter. Whenever I always say Froggy's a good boy. And my daughter's like, my oldest daughter's like, yep, Froggy's a good boy. Like, you know, but there's a reality that comes to it. And now we're entering into a stage of development where I'm working on all these other characters and I'm putting together storyline as we're progressing. This is not the one that me and David have got too many projects we're working on already. So we got to get that one soon, which it's coming soon. Our first project's going to be coming out soon. I'm excited for it, man. I'm really excited for it. I won't go into details of it. Who was here on the very first Imagine? Anybody? So you may not remember, I had the picture I shared that day was this Birdman. So that we call Flightless Birds. And we're working on a story in a series that's going to be based off that character and some of his fun friends and stuff. So my point in all this, because I'm almost at my time, is progression, creativity, be patient. When you have something inside you that needs to get out, don't hold back. Don't worry what the world is thinking or any criticism that you might feel like you're going to face or fears or anything like that. Just get it out. Whatever that is. Whatever that passion is on your heart, let it come out. And then when it comes out, be satisfied and content with what you've created. But if that creation says, Daddy, he doesn't really talk to me like that, okay? But Daddy, I want to keep growing. Bring me out to the world. Then you keep growing and you keep playing with it and you keep diving in and you keep progressing the story. Because Froggy is really not just only like of this character that I created, it's actually me. But it really is in a lot of ways. It's the opportunity of doing something that I've always wanted to do, to share something with the world. And part of the story is having the bravery to get out there and be yourself and to share your story with everybody out there, even when the world is telling you, nah, we don't like you, we don't want you, this kind of thing. No, let them come alive. So,
That's right.
yes. So, that is my encouragement to you tonight. I will stop there because I'm about 20 minutes now. And do we have any questions?